Hi, and welcome to the first in the series of Dull Goes Away. And so here's some exercises for you to do. The first one is fundamentals. Basically, it's kind of like a little meditation for you. It's going to be a little bit shorter than the other ones, but yeah, we get to focus on the super fundamentals of the body. So the first one is breathing. Grab your mats, grab your towel, grab everything that you need. You're going to lie down on the mat. Your feet are hip distance apart, so my black t-shirt, hopefully you can see everything. Inhale through the nose. Exhale through the mouth. Release, relax. I relaxed so much my ear plug thing fell out, so I'll just get that back in there. Cool. So you breathe in through the nose to help your breath go deep into the lungs. And then when you breathe out, make your mouth into like you're blowing through a straw, or like you're whistling, just about to whistle a small little tune. In a relaxed way, hold your mouth like that throughout. Relax your shoulders, relax your neck. Move your feet hip distance or sit bone distance apart. And move them as far away as you feel like you need to really relax your hips and to bring your tailbone down onto the mat. Let everything go. As you're lying here relaxing, you may want to towel under your head or anything like that. Get yourself as comfortable as possible. The aim for all these exercises is to relax as much as possible. You get the most benefit out of relaxing. So now we're going to go into what I call lift, zip, and dome. It's a nice acronym that helps you remember. The lifting is your pelvic floor, and just imagine that you're just gently pulling up in between the middle of your legs and your bum, basically, in between there. If you want another thought, imagine you're stepping over an electric fence, very gentle electric fence, and you're just lifting that part that you would as you step over that electric fence. It's Kegels. If you're a female and you do Kegels, it's the same thing, but you want to lift it at 10%. Quite often we're taught to lift it strong, but in Pilates, you're just lifting it at 10%. That is the lift. It's okay if you go 100, just gently ease off until you get to about 10%. And you might not be able to do that today or next week or next month, but it will eventually happen. You'll be able to ease it off to about 10%. The other thing that I talk about is zip and dome, and that is imagining you've got a most comfortable fitting pair of trousers on, and you zip them from the bottom of the zip up to the top, and then do the dome up as well. That engages the deepest abdominals, which wrap all the way around from your back, all the way around sideways to your front and then around to your back again. You don't need to worry about that. Just think about lifting, zipping, and doming, doing up a pair of trousers. And that all is about 10%. So now what I want you to do is to think about lengthening the back of the neck. This is not the top of the head. This is the top of the back of the head. So, or the crown, and it's another way of thinking about it, or where the Hare Krishnas have their ponytail. That is where you want to lift up from. What happens then is that you elongate the back of your neck. The back of your ears stretch away from the back of your shoulders. Your chin tucks slightly, and you can really feel the back of the neck elongating. So after you've lengthened the back of the neck, that's what I mean when I say that, then I want you to go into eye roll, just gently rolling the eyes and nodding the chin, and then unnod and roll back up. When you roll back up, you're looking straight above you, not to the wall above you, but just straight up to the ceiling. That's where you finish and start. Roll the eyes, nod the chin slightly, head doesn't even come off the mat. Unnod, unroll. So these fundamentals are also how we start a class quite often. Keep rolling the eyes towards the knees, nodding the chin, unnod, unroll. Double check the back of the neck is lengthened. The reason why this one is a fundamental is because whenever you curl up the upper half of your body off the ground, this is how you want to start. Lifting, zipping and doming, and then lengthen the back of the neck, roll the eyes, nod the chin, and you're going to keep curling up in that same movement. Roll the eyes, nod the chin, helps protect your neck. And then your boobs, imagine, or your nipples, imagine they come up and over a pen. So you're lifting up from just underneath your nipples, and then roll back down. We're going to do that 2 more times. Roll the eyes, nod the chin, and then curl up. Keeping your chin tucked, your hands can come off the mat. And then roll back down again. We're looking for height up towards the ceiling rather than crunching towards your knees. Lengthen the back of the neck. Roll the eyes, nod the chin, and then curl up. Let your forehead lead the way. Boobs come up and over a pen, and then back down again. So anytime you do a curl up, that's how you do it to protect your neck. So now we're just going to go into the shoulders. Lift your arms above your shoulders and make them wider than your shoulders. You're carrying a wide box. Your elbows are softly bent. You're going to lift one hand up to the ceiling, keeping the elbow bent, and then lower it back down again. Other hand, and lower it back down. Quite often people put their, keep going, quite often people put their hands higher and directly over their shoulders. But I want you to imagine you're actually holding a box that's about 1 meter long, and you slide your hand up the side of the box and then back down again. As you're doing this, check in whether you're lifted, zipped and domed. And also keep this movement in your shoulder blades only, not in the neck or in the back right now. So this is a nice way to just warm up your shoulders. Quite often when we have anything going on, we're quite tense in our shoulders and neck. The neck muscles go all the way down into the shoulders, so this is a great one for relaxing all of that. When you come back down, let that shoulder blade really rest into the mat. Cool. And now what we're going to do is lift that hand a little bit higher and allow that lift to turn our head in the opposite direction to the hand, and then come back down again. This time we are going into a small twist of the upper spine. As you do this, it's really easy for that arm to go across the body. You don't want that. You want to keep lifting it up to the ceiling and then back down. Lift up to the sky and back down. Whenever you're moving your arms, it's a really good idea to think about eggs under the armpits. Yes, I did say eggs. So you don't want to squash those eggs, which gives you a nice wide space in your shoulder girdle. Cool. Got two more of these, allowing for a nice width in between your arms. Cool. Make this your last one. You're going to keep the arms up there. This time we're going to go one arm forward, one arm backwards. Now when you're moving your arms slightly above your shoulders, this is called arm scissors, quite often there's a tendency for the ribs to come off and almost superwoman away, or Superman, with that popped up chest. This is not what we want. So check in with your ribs and make sure they are lying on the carriage the same way throughout this exercise. If your ribs start to pop off the carriage, just don't go so high. What we want first is to get the movement in a good way, and then the range of movement will come after that. Cool. After doing this, then you're going to do arm circles. Both arms come down towards the hips or the other direction. Out to the side, around and back up again. I'm just going to Scooby-Doo down a little bit because I'm knocking into my own equipment. Keep going. If your arms are going in the opposite direction, that is not a problem. Double check you're lifted, zipped and domed so that you are like nice and secure in your abdominal area as your arms go around. Also double check your ribs and back is on the ground. Cool. And then go in the other direction with your arm circles. Great. Go as small or as big as you want. And then put your arms down by your sides. We're going to go into the lower part of the body, and we're starting with some hip rolls. Bring your feet a little bit closer if you want. So the thing with the hip rolls is this is for the mobility of the lower spine. So it's down around your pelvis area and the back that connects there. We want to roll through. So you're rolling your back onto the ground, and then you're lifting your hips up, knees pull to the wall, and then roll back down through again. Cool. Roll the hips, curl up, and roll back down again. If this is difficult, something that you can do is just imagine a glass of water sitting right in between the bottom of where your legs meet and your belly button. This glass of water, you want to just tip it towards your belly button, and then back to the middle, and then tip it a little bit in between your legs and back to the middle. If this hurts, don't do it. Just do smaller, tiny little movements. What we're trying to get is we're trying to get articulation of the pelvis. Another way of imagining this is a laser beam to the sky. You're trying to draw the laser beam a little bit closer to above you, and then bring it back to the middle, and then try and make the laser beam go further in the other direction and back to the middle. Again, these are tiny little movements. Make sure that your back of your neck is nice and long. So what this does, these movements are isolating your pelvis from your back, and quite often when we move the pelvis, we go into our back or our shoulders or whatever, and these movements are just in the pelvis. Another good one is to do tiny little circles with your pelvis. You can imagine, again, you've got a laser beam up to the ceiling. Those circles start small and then they get bigger and bigger, and then make them smaller and smaller and back to the middle. The other way of imagining this is having a plate on your pelvis area. Imagine you've put a plate there, And there's a marble in the middle of the plate, and you're rolling the marble. We're going to go in the opposite direction. Just roll the marble a tiny bit around the middle of the plate, and then make it bigger and bigger circles. And then make them as big as you feel like you want to. And then go smaller and smaller until you're doing tiny little circles. When I first started this, they were just scribbles. Some people have figure of eights, which we are going to go into. But the start is just circles. And then imagine you're drawing a line or rolling that marble from 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And 12 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And then bring it back to the middle. And then go from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Check in with your knees. Are they swinging about anywhere, or are they just relaxing? Cool. If you want to do this with your feet further away, that's absolutely fine. We brought them together towards us for hip rolls. And this is just pelvis articulation. Cool. Now, you're going to go into figure of eights. You can just spend a whole 15 minutes doing pelvis articulation if you want. Those figure of eights are going to get bigger and bigger until you're exploring your full range of figure of eights. And then smaller and smaller until you come to a stop. Go in the other direction. Ooh, this feels weird. So you won't be able to see much because it's just my pelvis that's moving. If my knees are like, woo, then that's not what we want. This is just totally in the pelvis. Cool. Explore the range of the figure of eights in the other direction. And then come back to smaller and smaller and stop. Great. Again, you can bring your feet closer to you and try some hip rolls now. You want to really roll through your spine, getting as much length as you can. The tailbone goes up first, rolling through. As the tailbone goes up, the back almost goes on the ground. And then you start rolling through your back, trying to make it as round as possible and trying to roll through each backbone as much as you can. And back down. Relax your hips for a minute, go onto your tailbone on the mat, and then start again. Inhale and roll through. So you're almost rolling off your tailbone onto the back of your pelvis and then lifting the hips up. Imagine a string going from your pelvis up to the top of the wall meeting the ceiling in front of your knees, and then curl it all the way back down again. Cool. We're not going to do any more than just those rolls. Really making sure that you're rolling through the spine. No straight spine. And lengthening and trying to really tuck and curl down again. Great. So now just rock your knees from side to side. When you rock your knees from side to side, you might feel it on the sides of the abdominals. You don't have to rock them very far, whatever you choose you want to do. As you rock your knees from side to side, try and keep your ribs on the ground. This is a different movement. You're like, oh yeah, I feel that right at the bottom of my ribs and into stretching the back of my back. If any of these hurt, stop immediately. But if you're just feeling a gentle stretch, then that's great. You can just keep doing this if you want. But if you want a little bit more of a challenge, then bring your knees back up to the middle. Lift up and down, lengthen the back of the neck. Your hands are wide. I can't put mine very wide, so I'm just going to hang on to the edges of the reformer a little bit. Lift up and down, bring one leg up into tabletop, which is this bent thing here, and then try and slide just underneath or try and shorten your t-shirt in the middle. Your head stays on the ground. Try not to stick your chin up. Keep your chin tucked. You're going to shorten or slide from underneath your bra to the top of your tights is a good one. And then the other leg comes up. Cool. And then you're going to rock your knees from side to side. But first, what we're going to talk about, bring your legs back, put one foot down and then the other. You might have noticed when you lifted your legs up, you very much went into your abdomen or your back. If you went into your back, then stop immediately. I'm going to talk about a thing called imprint now. And I said slide your ribs to your hips or underneath your bra to the top of your tights. So what that is that's a deeper engagement of the abdominals. And the reason why we do that is because sometimes when you lift your leg up, you're not super strong in your abs, and you need that deeper engagement so you don't tilt the pelvis and go into the back. So that is, I don't know if you can see, but my pelvis like tilts and my belly pops out and then I go into my back. So we don't want that. How you prevent that is by doing a lift, up and dome, and then sliding underneath your bra or the bottom of your bra to the top of your tights. And if you're a guy, you can have a think about vertical stripes across your t-shirt, and you're trying to squash all those stripes together. That's another way of thinking about it. Those stripes go left to right like a zebra, and imagine you've got zebra stripes on your belly, and you're trying to shorten or squash all those stripes together. Same thing. So let's say squash all those stripes or go into imprint, squash all those stripes together. You'll notice when you do that, that you're really engaged in your abdomen and your back is going to flatten onto the mat. You're not pushing your back down, but your back is going to flatten onto the mat. You don't have that natural curve anymore. That's okay in these imprint zebra stripe action. So squash all your zebra types on your stripes of your stomach together, and then lift one leg up into imprint, into tabletop, and then the other leg, keep squashing those stripes together, other leg comes up as well. If this is too challenging, don't do it. Go back to rocking the knees from side to side. If you're okay here, take your knees over to one side and inhale, exhale and back to the middle. On the other side and an inhale, exhale and back to the middle. Keep checking in as your abdomen, are those zebra stripes squashing together? Are you really, really engaged in your abdomen? Cool. Are your shoulders nice and relaxed on the mat? Are you in your front abdomen or back? If you're in your back, put your feet down immediately. Cool. After these, you can either put your feet down and reset, which we're going to do, or keep your feet up there, whatever you feel like you want to do. Reset. Lift, up and down, and then squash those zebra stripes together across your tummy. Bring one leg up, double check those zebra stripes squashed, and then the other leg comes up. We're going to do toe dips. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, squash the stripes together. And then you're going to inhale, take one leg down. Exhale, bring it back up, squashing the stripes together. Inhale, the other leg comes down. Exhale, bring it back up. Squash your top of your tights to the underneath of your bra, bottom of your bra. Inhale, dip toe, squash down, and exhale. So when I say squash, this area here is compressing together. Cool. If this is too challenging, then just have one leg down, and you're going to inhale, take that leg down, exhale, squash the stripes, bring it back up. Do about 5 on each side. Remember that breathing. And you'll notice the breathing, how helps you squash the stripes together. Other leg. scoot the stomach to the ground, also flattening it so it doesn't bulge up as you are moving your leg. Put your foot down and the other one down, and then if you want, you can just gently rock your knees from side to side to release any tension in your back. So that was called an imprint, that zebra squashing strike. So we just moved through a couple of movements with that. Often we're going to use the sliding ribs to hips or squash stripes together or imprint position. Same thing, and just different cues to help you understand it. So now we're going to go into a hip release. This is for your hips. Thing we've moved through all the back. And your feet are still hip distance apart. Your knees are hip distance apart. Wherever you put your knees, put them in line with the middle of the knees and the middle of the feet. So if I say feet hip distance apart and you're wondering where your knees go, then that is always where your knees and feet go. Or if I say knee falls out, let your foot follow with the knee. Same with the head and spine. Wherever your spine goes, allow your head to follow as an extension of your neck. Back. Yeah, back. Cool. So hip release. Lift up and down to support yourself, and then this one knee just gently opens to the side. Slide the foot away from you. Turn from the hip, the knee goes, faces towards the ceiling, and then slide that foot back up again. So this hip for me is not very flexible. I've always got problems in this hip. So you may get your hip out more than I do, and that's okay. Not a competition. Otherwise, one of us would lose. Look at that. As your hip goes out, you'll feel stretching in your inner thigh as your knee goes out. That's okay. If you feel like you've gone to your back, then slide some zebra stripes together. Because sometimes when the knee goes out, you can tend to pop your belly up. We don't want the belly popping. You don't ever want a balloony belly. Oh, you're going to do about 10 of these on each side. If you got sticky grip socks, then I just very lightly have my foot so that I can slide away and slide back. Really focus on the rotation of that hip as you're going around, and the other knee is just directly up to the ceiling. Double check your lifted, zipped and down. We're going to go in the other direction with the same leg. So slide the same leg out directly down in front of you. Turn from the hip, the knee goes out to the side, bring that foot back, and then bring the knee back up to the middle. Slide the foot out, rotate from the hip, bend the knee, bring the knee back up to the ceiling or parallel with the other one. Keep the foot on the floor the whole entire time. So you want to do approximately 10 of these, and because I've been instructing you, I've completely lost count. Go figure. When you've done 10 in each side, 10 in each direction, then go on to the other side. Your other knee goes out, your foot slides away, rotate from the hip, and then bring that foot back. As you're doing this, check in with the rest of your body. Is the rest of your body nice and still? Are you just moving in your hip and leg? Are you stabilized, or are you lifted, zipped and domed in your abdomen? These are really, really good exercises just to focus on moving only the body part that you're trying to move. And the rest of your body is just relaxing. Double check, is your chin slightly tucked? Is the back of the neck long? Are you feeling this in your abdomen? Is your hip relaxing? Great. I think that's 10. Go in the other direction. Slide the foot out. Turn from the hip. The knee goes out to the side. Bend the knee. Bring it back up. Slide the foot out. Rotate from the hip. Bend the knee. Bring it back up. So another thing in Pilates is that none of it is supposed to hurt. So if it hurts you to bring your knee, to bend your knee, to do any of these exercises, if it hurts in any way, then go a much smaller range. Make them tiny, or stop them and just don't do that one and relax. I'm not there to be able to help you. You're more than welcome to ask questions. That is not a problem. I'm there to answer any questions. But please do not do any of these if they hurt. I'll be back super soon and then we can go through them. Or just email me and ask me a question. Happy to answer. Is anyone counting? I've totally lost count. Great. Okay. So that was on our back. What we're going to do now, if you have knee problems and you need to put a pillow between your knees, by all means do. In any of these exercises, you're more than welcome to support yourself with a pillow anywhere. You can put a pillow under your hip if you feel like you need a pillow under your hip. You can put a pillow under your head, whatever you feel like you want to. We've rolled on our side. Sorry about that. I just held the microphone for a minute. Put your hands under your head to support us. Your knees and feet are in front of the mat. You're going to let your head rest in your hand as much as possible and lift your waist up out of the mat so that you can slide your finger under a tiny bit. Put your hand in front of you, and then what we're going to do, put your hand by your ear. What we're going to do is we're just going to inhale, not just the elbow, but the whole body, watching the elbow with your head go out and behind you, and then exhale, roll back around again. So you're taking this rib basically and you're rolling this rib to the back of the wall behind you, and then exhale, roll back around again. Inhale, you're going to feel this as a nice stretch in your ribs. Exhale, lift up, and then roll back. Double check you're not pulling on your head. When I first started doing this, I felt very tight, just in the front of my armpits. Go figure. Tightness is okay. You want to just go ease through the tightness, and tightness is okay, but pain is not. So if you're stretching, feeling a stretch, you want it to be a gentle stretch. Otherwise, it turns into some slight muscle tear, and you don't really want a muscle tear. We will talk more about muscles and strength building. That's when you do want a muscle tear. But you don't want to damage yourself in these foundations. You don't want to damage yourself either. What am I talking about? Cool. Last one. Inhale, open. The whole body rotates around, upper body. Exhale. Close. Lift up and down before you move, and then you're going to go onto the other side. So the reason for doing this is to get some rotation in your upper body and around the good spinal rotation. Spinal rotation is really, really good for you, especially if you've got a sore back. Hands relaxing around the head, not gripping hard. Lift up from the mat just under your waist. Knees stacked on top of each other. Hips stacked on top of each other. Feet stacked on top of each other. Inhale, rotate around, open up from the shoulder, and then exhale, zip and close. Cool. Approximately 10 of these, whatever feels good. Keep going. You'll feel this around your ribs. You might feel it stretch in the inside or around your hips. A lot of people find this a really good stretch. It's superb if you've been doing desk work. Something to check is that the back of your head is in line with the back of your mat. You're not pulling your head forward. You want your head to be in line with the spine. And that's something that a lot of people do. They kind of grip the head and pull it forward so you curl. You don't want that. You want the head to be back. Cool. Do about 10 of these. And if we haven't, then pause the video. I think we're about 7, so I'll give it another 3 more. So we're just going through all the movements of the spine. And just a gentle, super gentle Pilates to help you if you've got any kind of body trauma, or you just want to relax, or you just want to do a warm-up meditation, stretchy, bendy, flexy thing. Wow. The next thing we're going to do, lift, dip and down before you move, is we're going to go into some cat stretches. This is mobilization of the spine and hands and knees. Oh, got some gorgeous hair going on. So normally what I sometimes I do, and I just did then, I saw in the mirror, is that we kind of tend to sink into our upper arms. So what I want you to do is to pull the back of your neck up like a kitty cat has got you by the scruff of the neck. And you can see how that changes the whole entire posture. It goes from sinking down here to nice and pulled up. And the other way of thinking about it is pull yourself up out of your hands. If your wrists hurt, roll up a towel and put them under your heel of your hand so your fingers kind of go a little bit further over. Okay, so pull yourself up out of your arms. You're going to tuck the tailbone first and then roll through the spine. Drop the head. The lumbar is supposed to be flexing, and then untuck and roll through. You don't want to dip, no dipping. You want to just come to a straight back. Push as you're lifting your arms and going through this. Try to widen across the width of your arms, across your shoulders, so that you're imagining you're pushing your shoulders into a door frame. Cool. And then we're going to rock back. So rocking back is really good for flossing the sciatic nerve. Again, pull yourself up out of your arms and just rock your heels back towards your bum and then come back up again. So if you've got any sciatic problems, this one is so good. Depending on what causes your sciatic problems. Keep yourself lifted, zipped and domed in the abdominals. Cool. So we're not going to stay here long. We've done mobilization of the spine. We've done some hip rolls. We've isolated our shoulders. Oh, gorgeous hair there. Yep, Pilates model. So we've isolated our shoulders by moving our hands up and down. It's really nice to isolate your shoulders. It's nice to isolate all different parts of your body. I don't think I need to lie down. You can lie down and rest. I'm just going to double check. I've got everything. We've done a breathing. We've done the lift, zip, and dome, which is like imagining you're stepping over an electric fence. And I'm just going to give you a demo. You don't have to actually step over, but you're lifting up in between your legs, up in here, sucking that up gently, and then imagining you're zipping and doming up a pair of my favorite fitting pants. And then the lift, sliding ribs to hips. If you want, as you're lying there, you can put your fingers on your lowest rib and your thumb on your lowest rib and your fingers on your hips. And that's the part that you're bringing together. So, but you're not lifting your body off. You're just sliding them together without moving the rest of your body. So that's the movement. And you can see there's a tiny little tuck of the pelvis and the back flattens. Oh. Spinal rotation, cat stretch, hip rolls, head nods. Okay. I'm pretty sure we have done everything. We're going to cover these again in the future. Thank you very much. I'm a little bit new to this video thing, so bear with me. I hope you got a lot out of the foundation, fundamental exercises for Pilates. See you in the future.